Virgo. Right now, as you watch this, your ruling planet Mercury is doing something it hasn't done in almost a month. It's moving forward, but so are you, only if you catch these 3 emotional traps before they catch you. Because on July 23rd, 2026, you either break the cycle or you become it. Today is not a random day on the calendar, Virgo. Today, July 23rd, 2026, your ruling planet, Mercury, the messenger, the mind, the voice of your entire zodiac sign, stations direct at 16 degrees of Cancer. For 25 days since June 29th, Mercury has been moving backward through the sign of home, memory, family, and roots. And because Mercury rules you, whatever it touches, you feel first. And you feel deepest. This wasn't a random detour. This was a summons. For the last 3.5 weeks, something old has been circling back into your life. Maybe it was a conversation you thought was finished. Maybe it was a memory of your childhood home, your mother, your father, the version of you that first learned how to earn love instead of simply receive it. Maybe it was a person from your past, reappearing just long enough to show you that the lesson didn't fully land the first time. That was never a coincidence. That was the universe holding up a mirror to a pattern that runs deeper than this lifetime. A pattern woven into your bloodline, repeating quietly through the people who came before you, waiting for someone strong enough, someone aware enough to finally recognize it and let it end. That someone is you. And here is the sacred timing you need to understand. As Mercury turns direct today, the sun has just crossed into bold, radiant Leo. For weeks you've been pulled inward, into Cancer's quiet waters, forced to feel what you usually organize your way around. Now, the sky is asking you to rise, to stop processing in private and start living in the open, to let what you've healed become visible. But, and this is the part almost no one tells Virgos, the moment right after a retrograde ends is the most dangerous moment of all. Because your nervous system doesn't know the difference between this is over and here we go again. Your first instinct, the instant Mercury moves forward, will be to snap back into the exact same coping patterns that got you stuck in the first place. Efficient, controlled, needed by everyone except yourself. The moon tonight is waxing, swelling toward a full moon in Aquarius on July 29th. A moon of awakening, of individuality, of finally choosing yourself over what everyone else expects of you. You are standing in the 7-day corridor between an old ending and a new beginning. What you do with these next 7 days will either close this ancestral loop for good or hand it down one more time. Feel that. A corridor of light, narrow and precise, exactly the kind of threshold your sign was built to walk through with open eyes. So before you take a single new step forward, you need to see clearly, because right now, 3 emotional traps are waiting exactly where the old cycle always begins. And if you don't recognize them by name, you will walk straight back into the very story your soul incarnated to rewrite. Trap 1, becoming everyone's anchor. The first trap is the oldest one you own, the trap of becoming everyone's anchor while no one becomes yours. Watch how it starts. Someone in your life is struggling, a sibling, a partner, a friend, a parent who never quite grew up. And something in you, some old well-worn groove, rises up before you even decide to let it. You organize their chaos. You hold their secrets. You carry what they drop. You tell yourself it's because you're capable, because you notice things others miss, because if you don't do it, who will? But underneath that story is a quieter, older one. If I am useful enough, I will be safe. If I hold everyone together, I will finally be worthy of being held myself. This did not begin with you, Virgo. Somewhere in your lineage, there was someone, a mother, who disappeared into caretaking, a father who earned love through sacrifice, a grandparent who was never once asked, "But how are you?" who taught this family that love is something you earn through labor, not something freely given. And without ever choosing it, you inherited the job. Here is your divine sign, and I want you to actually hear this. Every single time you feel that pull to fix, to rescue, to manage someone else's emotions this week, pause. Don't act yet. Just notice the pull. That pause is not weakness. That pause is the exact moment the ancestral pattern gets interrupted. That is the split second where the cycle either continues or ends right there in your body. Because Mercury retrograde in Cancer just spent 25 days showing you precisely how exhausted this pattern has made you. The person who forgot your birthday while you remembered theirs. The friend who calls only in crisis. The family member who takes and never once asks what you need. That wasn't the universe being cruel to you. That was the universe finally letting you see the shape of the cage so you could recognize the door. You were not put on this earth to be everyone's emotional infrastructure. You were put here with a mind sharp enough to see what's broken and a heart tender enough to care. But seeing and carrying are not the same thing. One is your gift. The other is your wound, wearing your gift as a disguise. Notice where this lives in your body. The tight jaw after a phone call that drained you. The sigh you let out only once you're finally alone. The quiet resentment you'd never say out loud, but that hums underneath every, "Of course I've got it." Your body has been keeping the score your mouth refuses to speak. This week, as Mercury moves forward, someone will test this exact pattern. They will bring you their mess, expecting you to do what you've always done. And your soul's entire evolution now hinges on a single, quiet, radical act, saying, "I trust you to handle this yourself." Not out of coldness, out of love. The kind of love that finally includes you. Trap 2, earning worth through flawlessness. The second trap hides inside the very gift that makes you extraordinary. Your discernment, your eye for detail, your ability to see exactly what's wrong and exactly how to fix it. That gift, turned outward, makes you the person people trust with their most important projects, their hardest problems, their most fragile plans. But that same gift turned inward becomes a courtroom you can never leave, where you are permanently on trial and the verdict is never quite enough. You know this voice. It's the one that replays a conversation from 3 days ago and finds the one sentence you should have phrased differently. It's the one that looks at everything you accomplished today and lands somehow on the single thing you didn't finish. It's the one that whispers, "If I'm not useful, disciplined, improving, productive, who am I really? What claim do I have to being loved?" This is not humility, Virgo. This is a wound wearing the mask of high standards. You proofread the text message 4 times before sending it. You redo the task that was already good enough twice because good enough has never once felt safe to you. You can list your flaws faster than you can name a single thing you love about yourself. This isn't discipline anymore. This is fear, wearing a very tidy uniform. Somewhere back along your bloodline, worth was made conditional. Maybe it was grades, maybe obedience, maybe being the easy one so the household had room to fall apart around someone else. A child who is only praised for achievement quietly learns a devastating lesson. Rest is dangerous and stillness must be earned. That belief didn't die with the person who taught it to you. It moved into your body, and it has been running your life from the shadows ever since. Here is your divine sign this week. Pay attention to repeating numbers 4, 44, 7, 17, 11, 11, appearing at the exact moment you're mid-spiral in self-criticism. That is not decoration. That is your higher self, your guides, and quite possibly your own ancestors who never got the chance to heal this, interrupting the pattern in real time. Reminding you, you are being watched over by more than your own inner critic. Mercury stationing direct today in the sign of emotional memory is asking you to go back one more time, not to relive the wound, but to finally close it, to look at the child who first learned that being flawless was the price of being loved, and tell them the truth. You were always going to be loved. You just weren't shown it clearly enough. Perfection was never the assignment. It was a survival strategy dressed up as a personality trait. And survival strategies, however well they served you once, are not meant to be worn forever. This week, do one imperfect thing on purpose. Send the email with a typo. Leave the dish in the sink an extra hour. Let someone see you mid-process, not just the polished result. Watch how the world does not end. Watch how you're loved anyway. Trap 3. The silence that protects no one. The third trap is the quietest, and it is the one that has cost you the most. The trap of silence. Of holding it together so well that no one ever thinks to ask if you're actually okay. You have become fluent in a very specific kind of performance. The one where you say, "I'm fine," while something inside you is genuinely breaking. Where you show up for everyone else's crisis with a steady voice and clear eyes, and then go home to a silence where no one is asking you the same question you just asked them. This is the deepest layer of the cycle, Virgo, because it is the one dressed as strength. People call you reliable, grounded, the one who always has it together. And some small exhausted part of you has started to wonder what would happen if just once you let that image crack in front of someone who mattered. Silence has a cost, even when it looks like composure from the outside. It shows up as the headache that arrives right after you hang up the phone, as the tears that only come in the shower, when no one can hear them land. Somewhere in your family's history, there was a generation, maybe more than one, where feelings were not safe to express, where vulnerability got you dismissed or punished, where the safest thing a person could do was go quiet and stay useful. That silence protected someone once. It kept someone safe in a house or a decade where speaking honestly wasn't survivable. But you are not living in that house or that decade anymore. And the silence that once protected your lineage is now the very thing quietly suffocating you. This is your divine sign, and it will be subtle. Someone this week will ask you, genuinely, "How are you, really?" It might be a stranger. It might be someone you didn't expect. Do not deflect it with your rehearsed answer. That question, appearing exactly now, in this 7-day window between Mercury turning direct and the full moon in Aquarius, is not small talk. It is the universe testing whether you're ready to finally answer honestly. Because here is the truth underneath this entire cycle. Virgo, you were never actually born to hold everything together, to be flawless, or to suffer in silence. You were born with a soul contract to end all three, not for the world's sake, but for your own. Every ancestor who couldn't say, "I'm struggling," is quietly cheering for the moment you finally do. This is not about becoming someone new. It's about putting down a costume you've been wearing so long you forgot it wasn't your skin. Underneath it, the entire time, has been someone worthy of rest, worthy of receiving, worthy of being loved without performing for it first. the cycle only continues in silence. The moment you speak the true thing out loud, to a friend, to a therapist, to the comment section below this very video, is the moment energetically it starts to end. So what happens now on the other side of these 3 traps? Something in you already knows. You've felt it building for days, this quiet, persistent sense that a chapter is closing. Watch for it over the next 2 weeks, because it will not announce itself loudly. It will come as a feather crossing your path when you least expect it. A song from years ago playing at the exact moment you needed to hear it. A stranger's offhand sentence that answers a question you never said out loud. An old friend reaching out on the very day you were thinking of them. These are not accidents, Virgo. These are the universe's fingerprints, proof that you are being met exactly where you are. Even this video landing in front of you today, on this exact date, is one of them. You didn't stumble here by scrolling. Some quieter part of you went looking for permission, and the universe, right on schedule, delivered it. With Mercury now moving direct through Cancer and the Sun freshly settled into bold, radiant Leo, you are standing in one of the rarest alignments your sign will experience this year. The mind finally clear, the heart finally visible. For months, maybe years, you have processed your pain privately, perfected it quietly, carried it silently. That season is closing. What comes next asks something different of you. Not more effort, but more permission. Permission to be witnessed. Permission to take up space without apologizing for it. Permission to receive help you didn't have to earn. This is what soul transformation actually looks like for you, Virgo. Not a dramatic overnight reinvention. 1,000 small refusals. Refusing to fix what isn't yours. Refusing to punish yourself for being human. Refusing to disappear into a silence that was never yours to carry in the first place. Each refusal is a thread pulled from a pattern that has run through your family for longer than anyone can trace. And every thread you pull is one the people who love you will never have to inherit. Picture it for a moment. Picture the version of you standing on the other side of this. Steady, yes, but soft. Capable, yes, but no longer performing capability as a shield. Loved not because of what you fix, what you achieve, or what you carry, but simply because you exist. That version of you is not a fantasy. It is not some far-off future stranger. It is who you already are, underneath 20, 30, 40 years, or 100 years of family conditioning telling you otherwise. The stars did not orchestrate this moment to punish you with old pain resurfacing. They orchestrated it to hand you, precisely and deliberately, an exit door, right as the cycle is about to close for another year. Whether you walk through it now or wait for it to circle back again is the only real choice in front of you. Virgo, the cycle ends the moment you decide it does. And that moment can be right now. If even one part of this reached something real in you, that's not a coincidence. That's confirmation. Confirmation that you're exactly where you're meant to be, right on time, exactly as this cycle asks you to end it. Before you go, I want to ask you something, and I genuinely want your answer. Comment below which of these 3 traps hit closest to home for you. 1. Becoming everyone's anchor. 2. Chasing perfection to feel worthy. Or 3. Staying silent to stay safe. Not for me. For the version of you who needs to see, in black and white, that you're not the only one carrying this. And if this video found you at exactly the right moment, that's rarely an accident either. Subscribe and turn on notifications so the next message doesn't pass you by. Share this with the Virgo in your life who's still holding everything together alone. And if you're not a Virgo, but you felt every word of this anyway, welcome. This cycle was never only Virgos to carry. You were born to end this cycle, not someday, Now, I'll see you in the next reading. Until then, breathe deep, let go gently, and walk forward. The door is already open.